Hi, you guys. It's Yaz, and today I'm going to talk about how to destroy the player. Okay. All right. We all know that there's tons of players out there, especially if you go on the dating apps, it's like filled with players. Okay. A lot of them are in relationships, a lot of them are married. You don't know it, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you guys some tips on how to kill a player. Okay. It's very simple. It's like my podcast that I did. Your cutoff game needs to be fierce, right? So it's like this, you guys. Most times, if they're an inexperienced player, they are going to move quickly and show their hand. An inexperienced player is going to bring up sex. They're going to try you. They're going to bring up things that they shouldn't, okay? Because if you've been in the game, you're going to spot it right away. So they're going to say, they're going to ask you things like, what are you wearing? And stuff along those lines. Or they're going to tell you they love you in the first week. These are all, pretty basic, and most people know that. And, the love bombing, they're going to lay on the sugar really soon without even knowing who you are. Anybody who makes you feel like you are the greatest thing that walked the earth and they don't know anything about you is flat out full of shit. Okay. So that's, rule number one. How could somebody think you're the greatest thing on earth if they know nothing about you? You could be a psychopath and they're telling you that they love you, right? So the thing is this, you're going to come across all these people in dating, but how do you destroy the player? Okay. Or how do you beat them at their own game? In other words. Okay. Now there's some people that will play them right back, and a player generally doesn't care. A player is just going to basically be like, okay, you want to play me? And, it's going to be back and forth games. And in the end, everybody loses because you're not connecting, you're not going anywhere. And all it is wasted time. Okay. But if sometimes we go out there and we meet people, they seem really genuine. They seem really nice. You say to yourself, if it's the case of women to men, you say to yourself, he's not like these other guys. He's having a hard time too. And he's trying to meet somebody. Okay. This is what they're going to portray to you if you're dealing with somebody who's a player. And then you have the person, in the rare instances, that is the sincere person. But I'm going to explain to you how you can tell the difference between the two, you guys. I said it a lot of times, it's an endurance game, okay? So it's like this. You don't give anybody any benefit until they earn it. It's very simple, you guys. It's very simple. You're way too trusting. Just because somebody's nice to you and they show you a lot of attention the first 2 weeks, you're too darn trusting, okay? You have to, you got to take your time with it. That's how you kill the player, you guys. You take your time, because players hate that. They hate when you take your time. Now, some of them will try to be cool with it and be like, oh, that's okay. I have no problem with that. I like that. I like when a woman takes their time. They may give you that BS. And in the meantime, what they're going to do is they're going to string you along, and they're going to be talking to other women or having sex with other women, or, they have another woman in some cases. All right. Or if it's the other way and you're dealing with a woman player, she'll have other guys on the side, okay? We're talking about players here. It can go either way, because you got female players as well that know how to play the game, okay? I have a few friends that are female players that play the game, all right? But the thing is this. A player does not want to put a lot of work in. Okay, that is why they are players, because they don't want to work. They want what's quick and easy and instant gratification. Okay, this is what they want. Believe me, later on, they'll have plenty of years of fun, but later on when they're, sick in a hotel room or they're sick in a hospital rather, unless they have very close friends or family, nobody's going to care about them, okay? Nobody, believe me when I tell you, nobody's going to care about them, because I've seen older players that are very much alone, and a lot of times these, if we're talking about women to men, these type of dudes, they're leaning on their mother, they're leaning on maybe a friend if they're lucky, but they don't have that support, or they're leaning on their kids, all right, if their kids are around. But you got to remember something too. A lot of kids remember who was and who wasn't in their lives, all right? Children remember this, okay? Children are very perceptive. And, how much love you give a child, you're going to get it back later on, okay? That's why a lot of these players, not a lot, but there's people that are players that are very selfish, that go out there, play the game, and then as they get older, and then as they slow down, then all of a sudden family and children become important. That's why you see a lot of these players try to come back into their kids' lives, and some of the kids want to reconnect with them and some of them don't. But I'm not going to get into that whole concept in this podcast. What I'm going to talk about is, how to kill the player. How do you beat somebody who's trying to play you? Number one, you recognize that you're dealing with somebody who's a manipulator. Because basically what a player is they are a manipulator, okay? They're trying to manipulate you usually it's for sex. It could be for money. Okay, it could be for whatever benefit that they're trying to get out of you. Most of the time it's for sex, okay, depending on who you are. But the point is, you don't get played unless you let somebody play you, unless you put your guard down, unless you take somebody at face value, you guys, all right? This is what I'm trying to tell you. Sometimes when you're very lonely, sometimes when you're very desperate, sometimes when you're very vulnerable, these people are like sharks, and they come into your life and they love bomb you, and you sit there and you want it so bad. You want somebody to care about you, and you don't want to look at this person and say, this person could be full of shit. All right. So you sit there and you say to yourself, let me give them a chance. All right. Let me give them a chance. Let me try to make it easy for them. And they'll see that I am, so easy to deal with. They'll want to be around me. Okay. Here's the problem with that, you guys. If you don't have standards, if you don't have boundaries, they're not looking at you like, oh, you're this wonderful person or anything. They're looking at you like you're a jerk. They're looking at you like you're a fool. They're laughing behind your back because you are not seeing them for who they are. This is why I stress boundaries so many times. You want to kill a player? You have boundaries. You have standards. When you have boundaries and you have standards and you live by your rules, not their rules, but you live by your rules, there's not a fucking thing they could do to you because you're in control of your destination, okay? A lot of times what happens is a lot of people get involved with a player. The person is very nice. The person love bombs them. Some players are better than others, okay? And, a lot of these players, they're being coached as well. There's a lot of coaches out there that are coaching guys, how to be players and everything like that. This is how they manipulate to make you think that they're a real one. They really care about you, okay? But that's why I'm here, okay? To bust the game up, because it's not right to play with people's feelings. Bottom line, it's not right to play with people's feelings. If people want some kind of benefit, like for instance, if people want sex, then go out and pay for it. Go out and get a hooker and pay for it. Don't play with anybody's feelings, because then you have people that are heartbroken. Then you have people that fall into depressions. And, it affects them. And especially if there's somebody that's a single parent with kids, if they're depressed, it's going to affect the kids in the home. And it cycles all the way down, you guys. It affects a lot of people. That's why there's a lot of bitter people. That's why there's a lot of angry people, because everybody feels like, somebody screwed them over. Okay, I see it in the groups all the time. I see a lot of, they put up a post in one of the groups, something to the effect of, if you stop worrying about your man cheating and start worrying about if your man is happy, okay? And the whole thing about that is this, okay? A bunch of guys jumped on the post and they said, "Oh, here come the feminists," and there was all this hate going on, all right, and it was there was back and forth nonsense, because obviously when somebody is doing something like that, they're a hurt person. They are a hurt person. Okay, so you need to recognize that when you're dealing with people, when they're attacking somebody, or they're attacking a whole gender, or they're attacking a whole race or something like that, they are a fractured person, okay? They are somebody who is ignorant, flat out ignorant, that doesn't understand anything about human beings, okay? So you have to recognize that when you're dealing with people. So when I get back to the point of, dealing with players and all these players that are out there that are trying to manipulate you and everything like that, you have to say to yourself, what are my standards? Where are my boundaries? Okay. Am I going to deal with somebody that I'm in the middle of a texting conversation with them and they just disappear? Okay. We had another question like that in one of the other groups. Some girl said something to the effect of, is that, the norm today? You're in the middle of texting and then all of a sudden the person stops texting and then contacts you and hits you back 2 days later? That is flat out rude, okay? That is flat out rude. That is not something that you would do to your boss. That is not something that you would do to your mother if you had a decent relationship, or somebody in your family. No. So that is a total lack of respect, you guys. That is a total lack of respect. And if you want somebody to treat you right, they have to respect you. And you have to not allow somebody like that. These are all red flags of who you're dealing with. Okay? If you're dealing with somebody who called you every night of the week and had you on the phone for hours, and then all weekend they disappeared, okay? That is a huge red flag, that you were just the filler to contact during the week, that you're not important to contact on the weekend, that they probably have somebody else that they're dealing with, or a bunch of people. That's how important you are. So what I'm trying to say is, you don't give these people your time, okay? When people turn out flaky or they do shit like this, you don't bother with them. That's your message to them. You know what? I don't deal with people that keep me on the phone for hours all week long and give me the impression like they're so into me, and then on the weekend, or they just fall off for a week and then come back 2 weeks later and think that they could pick up the conversation. No, that's not acceptable. That tells me that you're not serious and that you're a flake. And that's not somebody I would ever give time to. Okay? It's like this. When somebody's real, they're real from the get-go. Okay? When somebody really is serious about, trying to meet somebody and everything like that, there is no games, okay? Unless they're stupid and they follow one of these dumb coaches that tell them how to play game and everything like that. And that's why I tell men all the time, don't play game, okay? Because if you play game and you're dealing with someone who knows the game, you're going to lose that person. That person is going to delete you so fast, okay? They are going to delete you so fucking fast. They're not going to deal with you. And especially if they've been around the block and they've dealt with all this kind of stuff, the minute they see any kind of games or anything like that, they are not going to deal with you. And you're going to lose that person who could be a great person. So that's why I say, keep it real, keep it 100. deal with this person, the way you would want to be treated. And, the minute that you see that, they have a lack of courtesy or anything like that, then you don't bother with that. That shows you their character. That shows you that they have poor character. And if they have poor character like that, and especially in the beginning, that is a huge red flag, you guys. Like, I had a girl on one of my social media, right, on my TikTok, say something about how she was dating a guy for 3.5 years and then he went ghost on her. And I told her, I said, there had to have been red flags. I cannot believe in 3.5 years there were no red flags. Impossible. Impossible. She said, well, he was a good liar. He may have been a good liar, but you could tell by his pattern. This is why I tell you, look at their pattern. You could tell by somebody's pattern if they're on the up and up, or there's somebody that is just, breadcrumbing you or playing games. The minute that you have to wonder, where is this person? What happened to this person? They love to use the excuse, I was in the hospital. That let me tell you something. That is one of the biggest player excuses going. I was in the hospital, okay? Don't fall for that, all right? Unless you see a hospital, say, oh, that's great. Can I see the slip they gave you from the hospital? Okay? Because they'll be like, oh, well, what do you mean? Well, they didn't give me, okay? Anytime you leave like the ER, they give you a slip. Believe me, trust me when I tell you, I've been there numerous times with my kids, so I know the whole deal with that, okay? I worked in a hospital at one time too. So the point I'm trying to make is this. They will come up with all these kinds of excuses. These are your red flags, you guys. These are your red flags. But the point of this podcast is to tell you how you kill the player. The way you kill the player is that you take your time. You take your time. You move slowly with them. When they take you out, they know, I got to take you out once or twice. And then by the third time, they're expecting to come to your place or you going to their place, okay? No. You should be going out with somebody at least 5-6 times outside the house before you ever bring anybody into your home or you go to their house, okay? Matter of fact, I don't think you should bring anybody into your place for at least, it's got to be over 3 months, you guys. Believe me when I tell you, because number one, they're going to know where you live, which is a very dangerous thing, all right? If it ends up bad, it could be bad. You don't know if this person is a psychopath, and believe me when I tell you, they are out there. They are out there, okay? I know somebody who showed up at my friend's house 2 years later. He knocked on her door. 2 years later, he had the balls to knock on her door, okay? And he's lucky that at the time, she didn't have her man there or anything like that, okay? So this is what I'm trying to tell you. You got to move slowly, and you don't, it's like this, you guys. When you move fast and you take that attitude like, well, we're both grown, and they're going to use that excuse too. They're going to say, well, we're both grown, it doesn't matter if we have sex on the first date or we have sex, 3 months. It doesn't, we're grown, right? They try to lay that guilt trip on you. Don't fall for that shit, all right? The bottom line is this, okay? If you want to have sex, and you don't want to wait it out, basically what you're doing is you're rolling the dice. You're rolling the dice because you don't know if this person is going to all of a sudden lose interest or not. So the only way you are going to break the player is to take your time. And, they're either going to fall off, in which case you see that they're a fake one, all right? Or the other case is they may keep you around and breadcrumb you and back off from you, and they're gonna still touch base with you because they want to just string you along past up to 3 months or whatever, because they probably feel like they heard 3 months, 90-day rule, she'll sleep with me then, okay? So basically what they're doing is they're what they call benching you till they're ready to come around strong again after 3 months. But you know what? That's not good either, okay? Because they got to be consistent with it, okay? Consistent with it. They have to, that's why I tell you, you got to watch their pattern. Are they consistent in contacting you every day? Are they consistent with getting on the phone with you at least a half hour a day? These are people that are looking to get to know you. Are they consistent in asking you about yourself? Or are they not even interested in who you are? Okay? Look at the level of conversation you're having with this person. Like, what the fuck are they talking about? Are they talking about nonsense? Are they talking about, the weather? Are they talking about, general things, COVID? Are they talking about their dog? Or are they trying to get to know you? Is this person trying to get to fucking know you? Okay? I'm just going to say it like it is. All right? Because if somebody really sees you and they like you and they're attracted to you and they are looking for something more than just a hookup, they're going to want to know, who are you? What are you about? Okay? So they're going to ask you questions. Okay? So keep that in mind. I say that all the time because it's so true, you guys. This is how you weed out the zeros. This is how you weed out the zeros. But the point of this podcast, when I talk about, how to kill or destroy the player, the way you kill or destroy the player is you don't put yourself in a position to be played, okay? That means you don't hang out. You don't hang out. You date. You date. You make people work for you, okay? If somebody likes you, they will have no problem doing that. Like I said in my prior podcasts, it doesn't cost a lot of money to go and do a date. You can go hiking. You could go, you can go to axe throwing. This is what everybody does now. They do the axe throwing. This is what a lot of the singles group, I see them going, and they have those meetups where they do the axe throwing and stuff like that. There's a lot of other different things that you could do with people, and worst comes to worst, you could just, hang out in Starbucks, okay? So the thing is this, don't be pressured. I mean, I know in the beginning, the chemistry's there, you're really attracted to them, they're really attracted to you, but you have to, if you don't want to be played, you have to take your time and ride it out. You can't move fast. You can't believe and think that this person. These people are good actors. Believe me when I tell you, these people are good actors, all right? One time I was dealing with this dude. I thought, oh my God, I thought this guy was a real one. Let me tell you, this guy had me on the phone for hours, and he was complaining about oh, it's so hard to meet people and this and that. And I was telling, my homeboy, who's like my bestie, I was saying, oh, I think I got a real one here and everything like that. And then what happened is I sent my bestie a picture of him, and he saw a picture of him and he started laughing. And I was like, why are you laughing? He's like, no reason. It's like he knew. It's like guys have this, sixth sense. They know, because I guess he saw him. He was a very, very good looking guy, And he knew that this guy was full of shit. Okay. But okay. So I went with it. Well, to make a long story short, he and I were talking and everything like that. And turns out I started to see different holes in his story, all right? And then what happened was me and my homie, we actually busted him because he said he was going to a family party. He even sent me a video of himself, you guys. He sent me a video of himself at this friggin' family party. This is what a lot of them do too. I got to give you a heads up on this. A lot of them, they'll say, oh, I'm going to a birthday party for my family, or I'm going to a family party, and they take a video, right? They take a video and then they send it to you. And so you're thinking, oh, they're just at a family party and everything like that. Now, this is just in the beginning of dating, all right? But, they're trying to give you that impression, ooh, they're so into you and everything like that. Turns out, okay, he actually had a girlfriend, or he had somebody that he has situationship or something like that, because later on, when we tried to contact him, he wasn't picking up his phone and then everything else. And it was a whole big to-do that we busted him, okay? We busted him and we exposed him for who he was. So I said to my bestie, my guy friend, I said, I can't believe it. I said, I really thought this guy was real. And he was laughing. But this is what I'm trying to tell you guys. Some of these people are really good actors. So that's why you have to wait it out. You have to wait it out, okay? And you have to say to yourself, this person is in the trial phase. When we hit the 3-month mark, it doesn't mean that you sleep with them, until you have a commitment. They make it public. I've talked about this before. But if they're being it's good. You're on the right path, okay? If they're being consistent with you and they're being regular with you and they want to see you on a regular basis, these are all good patterns. Bad patterns are when they're disappearing, okay? The biggest sign of a player is somebody who disappears, okay? Because they can't pick up the phone. They're with somebody else. They're ghosting you because they're with somebody else most of the time, okay? Like I said, most of the time these people ghost you guys, it's not necessarily because they don't like you. It's because they're busy with somebody else that you don't even know about, all right? So that's it. That's flat out facts, okay? So the best way to kill the player is to, not give them what they want. Not give them what they want. Don't be hanging out and watch Netflixing and chilling, okay? Unless you're just looking for a hookup and you don't care if you never see that person again. If you're going to do that, then you have to have the mindset of, you know what? I'm just going to have a good time with this person. I'm turning my feelings off and that's it. If they never call me again, I'm good with it or whatever. Like if you're a player and you don't care or whatever, that's a whole nother game, all right? Then, you do what you want. But if you don't want to be played and it does affect you because you do really like this person, you got to wait it out. You don't give them the benefit. And the way you make people earn something is in time. They have to, prove themselves in time. It's not the first week. It's not the second week. It's not the first month, you guys. So this is how you break the player, okay? And if they fall off or they disappear, then good, okay? Because you don't want a manipulator in your life. That is somebody that you will never, ever be able to trust. Never, ever be able to trust, okay? So I hope that helps you. If it did, please hit the subscribe button. Please share. And have a great day, you guys. Hi, you guys. I just want to make you aware that the Game Exposed podcast now has their merchandise available. You can check out the link in the podcast description. There's hoodies, there's sweatpants, there's t-shirts, there's cool hats. So go check it out. Link is in the podcast description. And follow Yaz on Instagram at dating_advice_Yaz. Support for the Game Exposed podcast is brought to you by Manscaped. Who is the best in below-the-waist grooming and hygiene? Ladies, listen up. Manscaped offers precision engineering tools for you and your man's jewels. For any woman out there who has come across a hairy bush, you're now in luck. Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming, has launched their 4th-generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. Yes, the 4.0. Make sure your man joins the 4 million men worldwide who already trust Manscaped. With this exclusive offer, you get 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code THEGAME at manscaped.com. Okay? Let me tell you guys why I like the Manscaped products. They had sent me some sample products to try out. The Lawnmower 4.0 and the Weed Whacker. And I got to tell you, I was really surprised, you guys, at just how sleek this was, all right? I mean, first of all, it's lightweight. I like something lightweight. I don't like a big, heavy razor, or anything like that. It's very slim and to put your arm around. And when you use it, below, it has a light on here that makes it so easy to see what you're doing. It's not like you can't see what you're shaving down below. This would make a great gift for the holidays, for your man, for a friend, for a relative. And the other thing too that I wanted to bring up about this product, you guys, is that it's waterproof, okay? And it also helps reduce nicks. It reduces ingrown hairs and reduces the risk of grooming accidents. It's a great item. So go to manscaped.com and get 20% off by using code THEGAME. Hi, you guys, it's Yaz, and I want to tell you about my 2 books on Amazon. The first book is Regain Your Power. It's all about power and relationship. Who has the power in the relationship? And it goes into all of that, okay? The other book is Signs He's Not Into You, He's Wasting Your Time, okay? Check it out. It gives you a lot of good clues as to whether you're with somebody who's a real one or somebody who's just going to waste your time. You could read them both with Kindle's free trial membership. So check it out. Link is in the podcast description.